today's video, we're gonna talk about tree service PPC strategy that literally prints cash. How we do it at our firm for the multiple tree services that we've worked with and currently work with in the past. So you could do this for yourself, okay? If you want leads coming from Google Ads for like 20 bucks, 10 bucks a pop, you can actually do this if you know how to set the campaigns up correctly and through the mechanism of actually making this possible. Now, there's certain keywords you have to target in order to be able to do this, but I'm gonna go through what all those are. I'm not only gonna tell you what you could get in terms of a lead cost from these keywords, but also the closing rate of these keywords as well. So, and then in addition to that, I'm also gonna talk about how to run a killer campaign on YouTube for yourself so you can advertise content that says why you're the best company on that platform and get lead costs for similar costs. A little bit higher, but you'll get extra bonus leads. Something that very few companies can figure out. We figured it out at our firm, and I'll go over what that is as well. The main thing is, if you are a company that's even in an area of like 300,000 people, if you're metro area or service area that you're targeting, you could easily do an extra $1 million a year in sales, putting these things into motion here. And if you're doing $1 million, you have a service area of 1 million people, you can do 3 to 5 million a year in sales revenue. No problems with this individual strategy here, because this is going to rip the crap out of any of your competition who's also trying to run ads on Google, because Google's looking for the best campaigns to promote, and these are going to be the best ones you can promote in your area. The only exception being, of course, if you're in a market that I'm in, and then maybe that would be put a wrench in your plans, but it's not like we're in that many markets either. So this is going to be the best campaign to run in your market. Google's going to recognize and see that and then completely load any customers they possibly can on your company, because you're helping their users get the best experience out of Google. And that's where all the money is made with Google Ads nowadays. So with that said, I am going to go through the details on these strategies here so you can implement them for yourself correctly. If we stay to the end of the video, we'll go through the numbers, what you can make for each strategy itself. So, and then before I get into all that though, I want to let you know who I am. I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. We are the only agency out there who offers any kind of similar guarantees, which should tell you something about the quality of the information on this video. So with that said, getting into the content. Now, for Google, just to let you know right off the top, if anything works on Google, it will work on Bing too. And you can get an extra 25% more leads and profit out of Bing by running the same mechanism on Google that you can on Bing, okay? A lot of people that think that's crazy, but 15% of the market searches on Bing and there's less competition. So 25% of your profit will literally come from Bing when you add in Bing to your Google campaigns that you're gonna set up. So just wanna state that right off the top. Now, all of the search ads that you wanna run, there are 4 main categories of keywords that you wanna target here overall. And as you go down the list, the volume of leads that you will get will be less. The ROI you'll get on each lead is higher. Okay, so, but all of them are profitable. So you absolutely should be doing all of them because they're all profitable. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through each one of these here, starting with the tree service category, or just the general category. This is the category of keywords that pretty much every Joe Schmo uses when they set up a Google Ads campaign. They want to target tree service companies, tree services near me, and the like. And for what we found, if you set up your campaigns correctly using single keyword ad group structure, where you write unique ad copy for each keyword so that the keyword can be in the ad, and you put the user's city in the ad as well, and specifically like the suburb that they're in specifically, and you use custom landing pages where the landing page has the keyword in the city in it as well, so that, if they're looking for tree limb removal, you don't send them to a page that says tree services. And if they're in Long Beach, the landing page doesn't say LA, it says Long Beach. If you do that setup, you will get lead costs in the range of 25 bucks a piece. And that's very profitable to the point where you should be getting at least a 10-to-1 return on your ad spend, if not more, getting this lead cost. It's absolutely profitable. It's absolutely possible if you set up your campaign with that single keyword ad group structure. That's going to get you click-through rates higher than your competition, conversion rates higher than your competition in order to deliver this kind of lead cost. Google's looking for the person who's doing this because this provides the user the best experience. And whoever gets the best experience, Google wants to reward as greatly as they can. Lower lead costs, more leads, and the like. So, and then with that, you're going to close about 1 in 5 of those leads, okay? Which is going to be about pretty standard, even with an okay or average salesperson. It could be better if you have a better salesperson, but that's basically what it's going to be. So that's the first thing I would always do because that's going to bring the most volume to you. And there's some other things to know about this, of course. If you want to know how to set up the right SKAG campaign, single keyword ad group campaign structure, search for SKAG on my channel homepage in the search bar, and you'll find my other videos about this to get the inner workings and the details about how to do this the correct way, such as instead of targeting 10 or 20 keywords, target 500 of the unique ways that people can search. So every ad literally is laser targeted to exactly what the user typed in. So if they type in, fast tree limb removal, your ad says fast tree limb removal, your landing page says it, or a close variation to that. In addition to that, of course, watching the other videos that I put out about campaign structure and stuff like that on this channel. Given that I talk about it all the time, I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm, and I spend my weekends sharing what exactly works at this firm in order to give you the real working knowledge about what's working on these ad platforms nowadays. So if you want to make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, you want to get the information from this channel. Most people on YouTube talking about ads are only talking about ads. They're not running ads themselves. Trust me on that. So you should subscribe to this channel. Take a minute to do it. Also, check out my blog on my site. I've got a great blog on my site that goes over the exact strategies in detail on what you need to do with your ads in order to make money with your ads. You can find my blog there that I write personally at guaranteedppc.com/blog. That's the first thing. Now, when we get into the second grouping of keywords here that are going to work for you, we're talking about the tree-specific keywords. So this would be like willow tree removal, oak tree removal, maple tree removal, like that. So there is a bunch of people who are still searching this way. And because they're searching in a more specific way, the lead cost is going to be less because your ad's going to stand out more with the single keyword ad group structure that I talked about, as well as your landing page is going to give people more confidence. If they get to a page that says you have a willow tree removal, and that's what they were initially after, of course, they're going to call it a higher rate. So your lead cost is going to be less. But the bigger one is your closing rate on those leads is going to be much better than what you have in the first category of keywords. It's going to be more like 1 in 3 versus 1 in 5 will close into a job, okay? So that's, even though the volume's less, the ROI is more, it's still worth it to do it, which is also going to be true with the categories 3 and 4 I'm going to get into here next. So the next category of keywords that are profitable in the tree services space would be method specific. I learned, about 12 years ago that from a tree services guy that for the most part in the tree services business, the real money's made in getting into removing trees that require a crane to remove. Not just your little bit, tree that anybody can remove that basically some guy in a truck, maybe some illegals, whatever, have a little business. They're willing to undercut to get that job with removing a couple tree limbs. And they don't want to get into removing a huge 100-year-old tree with a crane or, specifically, the tree it fell on a house and they got to get it removed and all that. They don't get into that. So the competition's way, way less and the margins are way, way more as a result. So because these jobs are so profitable, I set up a campaign just targeting people looking for crane-assisted tree removal and get all I can out of that because there are people searching that way. And your lead cost is only going to be about $15 a lead for a job that's 3 times to 5 times is more expensive than the average job. And your closing rate's also going to be better, 1 in 3 again. So I would do that. I would also, though, do, in terms of keywords you're targeting on Google, disease-specific keywords, such as somebody looking for an emerald ash borer tree removal service. People are actually searching this way. And when you have an ad that says, #1 emerald ash borer tree removal service in Tampa, who do you think they're going to click on? Even a kid would know what to click on. And you have a landing page about emerald ash borer tree removal services, they're going to convert. You're going to pay leads for about $10 a lead. We were averaging about $12 a lead the last time we did it and getting a 1 in 3 closing rate again. So that's the highest ROI of anything especially since these trees are huge that you're gonna have to remove. So, but the volume is less. You might only get 5 leads a month off of that, but do all the disease keywords as well. Now, in order to get all the value from this, if you will, just to let you know how much time I personally spend setting up a campaign structure like this, with the ads, with the landing pages, with all of it, I'm spending no less than 100 hours in just an initial setup to get this set up right for a company, if not 200-300 hours. But once it's set up, the reward is Google will start to more and more all the time see how good it is, see it's better than the competition, and then lay it on thick for your company. And you will make millions doing this. So yes, it's going to cost you some money to get it going, but if it were easy, if all it took was a credit card and 15 minutes to set up your ads, everybody would be rich. There has to be a way for the winners to win and losers to lose. And ultimately, this is it. You do more for the user so that the user knows, what you have easier, how to buy easier, so on and so forth. And Google wants to send all the users to you because you're making it more likely so people want to click on ads more in the future. So you can either put the work in to do better than your competition in terms of how selected your ad is, how good your landing page is at getting people to call and buy versus having to go back to Google to click on something else. And they reward you. Otherwise, they're going to play around with you. If you're not in the top 20% of advertisers, which, frankly, in most markets, there's going to be 20 guys cycling in and out of the top 4 ad spots there on Google. And the 20% are going to get all the good leads. When it's somebody coming through that's serious, Google's going to send their favorite guys that show their ads to that person. Whereas the people that don't care about that much because their campaign sucks in comparison, they're going to send you a good lead here and again, kind of string you along, but send almost all the poor quality traffic to you because they can look at keyword traffic on an individual level, know of the 5,000 people who search for tree services as a keyword by itself, who's profitable, who's not, who closes, who's a tire kicker, and the guy that has the mediocre campaign, he gets the person that's the least likely to turn into a job. And that's what you get for your money versus almost every lead's a good lead. If you set up your ads the way that I told you and you track everything well, which is the other piece of this that I haven't talked about yet. A lot of people don't ignore how important tracking is. Literally speaking, you'll have 10 times the results you had, or even 20 times the results you're going to have year 10 compared to day 1 starting out, just based upon the data that you've accumulated in your account about what works and what doesn't work. Because the machine learning algorithms that run the ads for you and the smart bidding system will utilize the data about what works and what doesn't work to steer your ads in a better direction, finding out exactly who buys from you, who doesn't. And for that matter, in order to do it right, you not only have to set up your systems to track every lead that comes in, both form fill, phone call, and then also whether the people are qualified and then did they buy or not, and how much did they spend? Because that information needs to go back into your ad account so that the ad algorithm can steer your ads in an ever better direction forever. The more data you have accumulated in your account, the better your ad profitability can be. It's really that simple. So if you want also these lead costs, you also got to get the tracking right as well. But that's pretty much open to anybody, given I review accounts all the time, and it's less than 1% of people who are going to go through this effort to set this up. And this is just obvious for what the user wants to see. So you either give it to them and you get the reward, or you don't, and somebody else gets it, or nobody gets it for that matter. Or, somebody else gets it, but it's the person with the best ads, the best landing pages in your market still. So that's Google and Bing, okay? It's pretty simple. Now, other thing to mention here, which, this in itself takes a long time to set up. I would recommend that if you don't have the time, which most people running companies don't have time, just reach out to our agency, have us set it up for you. We're not going to charge you unless we can get the campaign to be baseline profitable even after we're paid. And that's it. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me at my agency at guaranteeppc.com and we'll set it up for you. We also sell the ad templates. If you want to just use the winning ad landing page campaign template that we've developed for the tree service market, we'll sell it to you for a fee. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me. We've got 100 different niches plus of different markets and templates we have available. So even if you were looking to start another business, you could take one of our templates, start a business up around it, sub out all the work, drop ship the product, whatever even, and make money from it. We've got people that have done that because the templates that we have set up over years and optimized ads for years in certain niche markets. We've got the best ads that can be run in that market. And I've done that in hundreds of markets now. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I also do coaching and consulting now. So if you have a one-off question about your tree service business or business in general, or you're an agency for that matter, reach out to me and we can do a 1-hour private call. I'll go over everything that you're doing, find out what you have questions about. I can tell you how to get your revenue unstuck in terms of figuring out, is the issue the ads, the landing pages you have? Is it the pricing that you have? Is it the sales process you have? I'm very good at spotting these issues. So I also offer that as well. But if you don't have time, I guarantee you a return on an investment at our agency if you reach out to us. As far as going back to what I was mentioning here, on YouTube, so demand gen campaigns is something I would also run, by the way. These are campaigns you can run via your Google Ads account to get your ads on YouTube and in front of people while they use Gmail as well. And with that, this is a whole different type of marketing where you are interrupting people. So you have to have something different than what you do in Google search ads in order to get people under the fold and dealing with you at your company. The way that we figured this out, which is a formula, by the way, we use for a lot of other markets, is we put together an ebook for the tree service market for a particular client that was serious and working with us. The title of that ebook was How Not to Get Ripped Off by a Tree Removal Service. And then we would target people who have recently searched any of these keywords from over here using what is known as custom intent audiences. So you set up a custom intent audience, you say to Google, hey, if anybody's searched for a tree service in the past on Google, I want our ebook to show up for them, or our ad that promotes the ebook. And that's really all it is. And, people, when they see an ebook saying how not to get ripped off by a tree service, when they've recently searched for a tree service, it fits right in ultimately. But just to be clear here, my general recommendation is because the lead cost is a little higher here, to just go after people looking for tree removal services, not just tree services in general, because the job size is much bigger. And in that case, you can take the title of the ebook, How Not to Get Ripped Off by a Tree Removal Service, not a tree service in general. I do recommend that. But with that, our particular client, we got $38 lead cost from people who requested the ebook and 1 in 11 closing rate, which if you're wondering how we close so many of those into a job, it was all about the sales process. So what you need to do is you need to have a dedicated landing page with this ebook offered on it. When people download the ebook, you have a system set up that immediately calls your sales team or salesperson and plays an audio saying, hey, somebody just requested the ebook. Press 1 to get in contact with the person. The John was the person who requested it. You hit 1 on your phone. It puts you in contact with John right away. And CallDrip is one program where you can actually set that kind of mechanism up where a form fill automatically turns into a phone call. But that's basically it. And what you do is you set up the timing so that 2 minutes after somebody downloads the ebook and haven't had time to start reading it, the call comes in and you start having a conversation with the user. You say, hey, Tom, I see you downloaded my ebook. I wrote that. I was just wondering if you have any questions about the tree you're trying to remove. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. No obligation. Get them talking. And by the end of the call, you've built up enough rapport with them to get the job closed. So that's how we got 1 in 11 closing rates here. That's the formula right there for advertising on YouTube and through demand gen, YouTube, and Gmail. In terms of the separation here, about 70% of your business should come from the search ads by itself. You can get another 30% more business though, running these YouTube and demand gen campaigns with the type of offer I'm telling you here. So it's just extra icing on the cake, if you will, even though it's not everything. It's just a bonus for your business. Now, that all said, where you're really going to get the return out of all this and get the numbers I talked about earlier, where you're generating, basically, if you're doing a population of 1 million a year and you're generating 3 to 5 million a year in sales revenue from their ad campaigns, you also got to add in retargeting or remarketing, as it's called in the marketing space, which is where you have ads show up for people after they've been to your website. With that, what we will do is we'll set up some banner ads, which are those ads that you see on websites, all the time. whether you go to weather.com or CNN.com or whatever. You create a series of ads for people to see while they're trying to decide if they're going to go with you or they're going to go with somebody else. And you show them ads with testimonials on it, with your average review rating from Google and Yelp and other on it, while you have other ads show up saying you're the #1 tree removal service in Long Beach or whatever city that they're in or you're in. You tell them a little story by means of these ads, ultimately, because what happens is people, they initially come to your site. Some of them aren't ready to even turn into a lead. A lot of people do turn into a lead. They're not ready to buy yet. They want to get other quotes, whatever. And a lot of people buy on price, but a lot of people buy on trust. And they don't want to make a bad decision, so they don't decide right away. And then, a few weeks go by, their wife is pestering them, Mark, why did you said you were going to get rid of that tree and you called some companies to get rid of it. What happened, Mark? And then they're like, oh man, I have to make a decision today. Who do you think they're thinking of first? The 2 people that they talked to once or the person that they talked to once, and then they saw 100 ads from that company talking about how great they are in every which way over and over again. It increases the closing rate that you're going to get on those leads at bare minimum 20%, but usually upwards of double by having that remarketing going on the back end to cement your brand authority in the user's mind. Because it costs a fraction of a penny to have a banner ad show up for somebody who's been to your site. You pay, $5 to get them to your site, but you're not going to spend a penny, or should I say a fraction of a penny, to get them to see an ad that says you're the #1 player in the area. You literally can afford to have 100 of these ads show up for somebody over the next 3 weeks while they're trying to decide who to go with for an extra 30 cents. You're throwing away half the value of your ad traffic you're driving to your site if you don't do this remarketing. And for that matter, it works so well. We also remarket to everybody who hits the site, not just people who came from our Google campaigns, but everybody, organic visitors, referral visitors, all of it, because it increases the closing rate so much. So you get that going as well, and that ties everything together. You do everything you can to get them to your site, everything you can do to get them to convert with the best targeted landing pages for different people. You remarket to them until they buy, and then when they buy, you feed that data back into your ad account, and that completes the circle. Now those are the 4 pieces of the puzzle where you're going to make those kind of revenue numbers in a population of 1 million people already, okay? And with a 10-to-1 return on your ad spend or greater. So if you want that kind of return, you got to go it. You can't take all the shortcuts and say, oh, do I really have to do this? Blah, 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 blah. You got to really do it all. Though for that matter, the best bet is to just partner with somebody who will do it all for you. And like I said, we offer a monthly service to do that, but it still costs money to hire us. How would you like for us to work for you for free to do it? Where we'll also give you upwards of $50,000 in ad spend to kick off your ads on top of it. The catch being that as long as you're willing to cut us in on your revenue growth in your company, once we implement it in your business, we'll do it all for free like that. We'll be equity partners in your business. We've done this with several companies already to date that have made millions upon millions of dollars with our plugging our firm into their businesses and are very happy, of which we can give direct references for. But in your case, we would take somewhere between 1% and 10% of the revenue growth of your company on any revenue that you're doing in the future. Not like if you're doing $1 million a year now, we don't touch that. If we take you to 10 million though, we want 1 to 10% of the extra 9 million. So you pay nothing up front and you just pay as you go. The more sales you make, the more we get. And we like those deals because we end up making lots of money on the back end once the ads really start working. Because the longer you go, the more the ads work. By the time you get 5 years into the process, they're just churning out cash. And we're baked into the pie at that point in time. So if you're interested in a situation like that, working with us perhaps like that, you can reach out to me at my agency. We're looking for companies to invest in at this time as well. Also, though, we got a great group going on. I have a Discord group, private Discord group, where anybody from this channel that wants to hop in there and discuss things, talk to other members, people that watch this channel, you can find the link in the video description here. It's a free group. I also posted in there a hell of a good PPC/advertising course there for free, just as a reward for joining the group. And while you're there, you can stay and ask questions to the group. There's a bunch of very knowledgeable people that are smarter than the average bear or smarter than the average person watching other content on YouTube, all there ready to answer your questions. I'd be more than happy and looking forward to seeing you there as well. So you have that available as a resource to you now as well. A lot of people have been requesting our Discord group. I finally opened it up once I had the course there to release at the same time. But with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.